Chapter 4. Communicating correctly. The mental video technique is a way for you to communicate with a higher power, what we refer to as high intelligence, to find out what your purpose in life is, and how to go about fulfilling your mission. Anyone can use this technique. You do not need to be a graduate of the Silva Ultramind ESP system or the Silva BLS, although it helps if you are. Why is it better to be a Silva graduate? 2 reasons. 1. The better able you are to use your inborn psychic ability, the easier it will be to send and receive messages to your helpers in the spiritual dimension. 2. Your ability to do your thinking at the alpha brainwave level, the ideal level for thinking, will help you to better interpret and understand the information that you receive from the other side. The mental video technique provides you with a method to give a report of your activities to high intelligence every night. You let your tutors on the other side know what the problems are, and what you are doing to correct them. Then your tutors send you guidance to help you make the best decisions and proceed in the most efficient and effective manner. They want to help you to be a big success and will send you all the help you need. In order to understand the concept, Jose used an analogy about our relationship with high intelligence. Your mission. If you're like me, you have probably wondered about the big questions of life, questions like, where did I come from? Who sent me here? Why did they send me? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do while I am here? Throughout the years, my research has involved those questions. And I have come up with some answers that stand up to the scrutiny of scientific method. That is, when my findings are applied by myself and by other people, the results are predictable, reliable, and repeatable. I believe that we were sent here from another dimension, by somebody who had the power to send us here without our consent if they so desired, because I don't remember anybody asking me if I wanted to come. As for why I was sent here, and what I am supposed to do, my research confirms again and again that we were sent here to correct problems and to convert the earth into a paradise. Why do I believe this? Because the people who correct the most problems are the people who are the most successful. What do I mean when I say they are successful? I am not talking about just making money. To be truly successful, you have to be successful in all areas: health, family, and relationships, and a sense of satisfaction, as well as financial success. Some of the most successful people have enough money for their needs, but little extra. Look at someone like Gandhi or Mother Teresa. Neither had many physical possessions, but they lived long, productive lives and received more satisfaction out of their work than most people can even imagine. Communication with headquarters. In order to know what to do to fulfill our mission, we need guidance from high intelligence. All of those who work on the other side, from the highest level of intelligence down to those who are assigned to help us individually, to tutor us, are all spiritual beings, in a spiritual dimension. They don't have physical senses. Since they don't have physical senses, they cannot detect directly what is taking place in the physical dimension, where we live. I believe that we were created to function in a physical dimension, to send them information about this dimension, and to carry out the work they want done. It is like the astronauts who are sent to the moon, or maybe to Mars before long. The astronauts have certain assignments. They know that they are supposed to collect samples. The reason the scientists need samples is because their knowledge of the moon is limited. So the astronauts call back to headquarters and say, "We found 3 different kinds of rocks. We will describe them to you and you tell us what you want us to bring back, how many samples of each." The astronauts have been trained to fly to the moon and land successfully, and to gather samples, but they do not know the details of what the scientists need or what they will do with the samples. So it is up to the scientists back at NASA headquarters to tell them. The scientists are not going to get samples unless the astronauts bring them. If the astronauts ignore their mission and decide to do what they please, the scientists will not get the samples they need. And if the astronauts are not able to get information from the scientists about what to collect, their mission might be only partially successful, or not at all. The scientists back at NASA headquarters cannot see what the astronauts see, because the scientists are not in that environment, getting the guidance we need. This parallels our situation. We are in a physical environment. We report back to high intelligence, to headquarters. Headquarters then determines what they need, and lets us carry it out, just like the scientists at NASA headquarters determine what they need in order to conduct their research, and then convey the information to the astronauts on the moon so that the astronauts can carry out the instructions and complete their mission successfully. It is up to the astronauts to determine how to move around, where to go to avoid obstacles and move towards their goal. The scientists are too far away to tell them every detail, like stepping around this boulder and picking up that rock. How to best do our job. In the same way, the details of how to carry out our assignment are up to us. It is our choice whether to accept our assignment or not, and how to carry it out. The better you are at detecting information psychically with your mental senses, as well as detecting information physically with your physical senses, and then analyzing at the alpha level, the greater your chances of achieving complete success. It takes a cooperative effort to have a successful mission. If the astronauts just go up there and do nothing but hit golf balls, and do not bring back the samples that the scientists at headquarters need, the mission will be a failure. They can have a little fun hitting a couple of balls, as long as they carry out the mission that has been assigned to them. If the astronauts do not receive the proper instructions and guidance from the scientists at headquarters, and if they are not given all of the tools and training that they need to do the job that's been assigned to them, the mission will be a failure. So the scientists and engineers at headquarters provide the spacecraft and the appropriate tools for this particular mission, and they train the astronauts so that they have the knowledge and skills that are required, and then they send them into space, into another environment, fully equipped to succeed at the mission that the scientists have established for them. If the astronauts try to change their mission's objectives, their mission will be a failure. If they do not maintain communication to get the guidance they need, their mission will fail. If they do not use their own judgment as the people who are actually on the scene to overcome obstacles, their mission will fail. They have free will to do what is necessary to complete their mission successfully, based on the guidance from headquarters. They also have the free will to disregard the instructions and fail if they so choose. You are fully equipped for success. We have been equipped with bodies suitable for the physical dimension and have been sent here to accomplish certain objectives. I believe that each one of us has been given all of the tools, talent, and training that we need to accomplish the mission we were sent here to do. People who select their own goals, and then fail, disregard the mission that was given to them. If they had used their given abilities for the mission that was assigned to them, they would have succeeded. Some people say that we have been given everything we need to succeed at anything we want to do. My research indicates otherwise, that we have been given everything we need to succeed at the mission that has been assigned to us, the mission that we were sent here to do. Communication with high intelligence. Now let's take a look at the practical side of things, the specific ways that we can establish and maintain contact with headquarters in the spiritual dimension. The mental video technique is an outstanding way to send reports of what you are doing and what you intend to do back to headquarters in the spiritual dimension. Another system is required for receiving information back from them. Let's talk about that for a moment. The second best way to receive guidance from high intelligence is through thoughts, dreams, inspiration, and ideas you get while at alpha, and so forth. The problem is that sometimes we want things so badly that we think that our own thoughts, our own fantasies, are actually messages from God. And sometimes we just plain misunderstand the ideas and instructions that are sent to us mentally. The more practice you have detecting information psychically and analyzing information at the alpha level, the better you will be at interpreting correctly. Praying for help. There is a story about the time that it rained so much that a river overflowed its banks. To make sure that everyone knew there was danger and they should evacuate, the sheriff's department sent a deputy around to warn residents. When they got to Farmer Brown's house, he told the deputy that he had faith in the Lord, and that he would pray and would be okay. The deputy did not have time to stay and argue, for there were many other people who needed to be warned. Sure enough, the waters rose, and soon Farmer Brown had fled to the second floor of his house. He looked out the window and saw a boat from the Marine Patrol. The officer called to him to get into the boat, but Farmer Brown, his strong faith undaunted, declined the offer, saying, "I'll trust in God to take care of me." When the waters had risen so high that Farmer Brown had been forced to climb to the very top of his roof, he heard a loud clattering and looked up to see a helicopter from the Air National Guard. "Grab the rope," they yelled down, "and we'll lift you to safety." Again Farmer Brown declined the offer. A little while later, as Farmer Brown appeared at the gates of heaven, St. Peter greeted him. "You have been such a devoted and faithful servant," St. Peter said. "Would you like to meet the Lord?" After he was ushered in, God asked Farmer Brown if he had any questions. "Well, I do have one," Farmer Brown answered. "I always believed that you would protect me and take care of me. Why did you let me drown, instead of keeping me safe?" God answered, "I sent a car to get you out. When I checked back and saw that you were still there, I sent the Marine Patrol by with a boat. When I saw that you had missed the boat, I even arranged for a helicopter to come get you and take you to safety. Recognize help when it comes." If Farmer Brown had known how to use the alpha level to analyze the situation, he might have figured out what was happening. Good intuition, the ability to detect information, certainly would have been valuable to him. High intelligence is spiritual, in a spiritual dimension. Spiritual beings do not have vocal cords to talk to us. They communicate with us through mental projection and through coincidence. In order to ensure that you do not confuse your own fantasies and desires with the guidance and instructions from your tutors in the spiritual dimension, you need to have a way to test the information and verify it. How do you verify it? How do you determine that it was mental projection from your tutors and not your own fantasies? By acting on the information and ideas and observing the results. If you pray for help, and help arrives, take it. Farmer Brown would have been much better off if he had understood this. Action speaks louder than words. It is always better to evaluate people by what they do, not what they say. We live in a physical world, tangible results are what count. Jose adopted this philosophy in his studies and research. He read so many books that made so many claims, often conflicting, that he had to develop a system to evaluate the ideas and information from those authors. To test the value of the ideas in the books, he put them into action by trying them out. If they corrected problems, he considered them to be real. He said it this way: the truthful truth, and the real reality, is that which when applied corrects problems. The same thing works for evaluating the guidance you think you are getting from high intelligence. Try it out. Use it. Apply it. And then notice what happens within the next 2 or 3 days. If, after you act on the information, and something positive happens, something that moves you toward your goals, this is an indication that you could be on the right track. If, on the other hand, you encounter new obstacles after you apply the information you receive, this is an indication that you could be headed in the wrong direction. A formula for evaluating ideas. Jose explained it this way: as you work on your project, you will usually encounter obstacles. Notice how long it takes you to overcome the first obstacle. Then when you encounter a second obstacle, notice how long it takes you to overcome this second obstacle. If it takes twice as long to overcome the second obstacle as it did the first, then this might indicate that you are moving in the wrong direction. But we are not yet sure. We do not want to give up too soon. So you continue. When you encounter a third obstacle, notice how long it takes to overcome the third obstacle. If it takes twice as long to overcome the third obstacle as it did to overcome the second, and it took twice as long to overcome the second obstacle as it did the first, then you can be pretty sure that you are going in the wrong direction. However, if it only takes half as long to overcome the second obstacle as it did to overcome the first, and just half as long to overcome the third as it took for the second, then you can be pretty confident that you are moving in the correct direction. Keep going, full speed ahead. Remember, we do not batter down doors. If a door doesn't open for you, and you have made a good effort to open it, then back up and take another look. There might be another door that will open right up for you. That is the door to take. And as former Silva instructor Marie Burleson pointed out, when you stop struggling and back up to survey the situation, you might find that the door you were pushing on actually opens toward you. A wrong interpretation is corrected. After Jose had been conducting research for about a decade, he began to feel that maybe he had done enough, that it was time to bring his research to an end. There were several Masons he felt this way. 1. He had used hypnosis to learn more about how the brain and mind work in order to help his children make better grades. 2. His research had even helped him to develop specific techniques to correct additional problems. What more could he need? 3. He had been neglecting his radio and television repair business. He was spending his own money on his research instead of on his family. 4. He was traveling quite a bit and was spending a lot of time away from his family and his business. 5. One of the most troubling things to him personally, he was receiving a lot of criticism. Friends thought he was a witch doctor because of his holistic faith healing research. He was an excellent holistic faith healer. Even his church was critical because they didn't know what he was delving into and they feared for his soul. So one rainy Saturday morning, it all came to a head. He decided to end his research. He put his psychology books into boxes and climbed up to the attic to store them away. Jose recalled the story this way. A decision to quit. I had written to Dr. J.B. Rhine to tell him that I had trained my daughter Isabel to be a psychic. But Dr. Rhine, a leading parapsychology researcher, wrote and told me that ESP could not be taught, and that my daughter was probably a natural psychic. He pointed out that I had not pre-tested her to make sure she was not already a psychic. I figured the #1 man in parapsychology was saying it, so it must be right. But the thought of starting all over again with a new subject that I must pre-test first was just too much for me. It had taken 3 years to get where I was, and that turned out to be a big zero, according to Dr. Rhine. It was with these bleak thoughts on a dismal, cloudy Saturday morning that I decided to quit this nonsense. So I put my books in the attic and sat on the sofa in my living room, thinking. My mind reached back into the memories, the feelings associated with the research I had done to that point, the research that now had come to a dead end. Although Jose was disappointed, he had learned to pay attention to the coincidences that high intelligence sends to us to let us know how to proceed. Although he didn't realize it, he was about to be told that he had misinterpreted the situation. An unexpected messenger, Ricardo, my second son, who was almost 10 years old, came bursting through the front door and interrupted my thoughts. It had been raining and was still drizzling outside. Ricardo was soaked, but the roll of heavy paper he dropped on the table was dry. When I unrolled that paper, I got the surprise of my life. Christ was staring at me. It was a picture of Christ's face, as large as life, looking at me with dark piercing eyes, not judging, but full of love and compassion, and I felt as though he was asking, "Why did you stop studying? Did I not tell you to study psychology?" Tears came to my eyes, and a feeling as though I had been a bad boy for not obeying. I swore then that I would continue with this work, and not ever again stop for the rest of my life, even if it meant giving up on my very successful electronics business. Many coincidences. It was a prior coincidence that triggered so much emotion in Jose. The first time he ever encountered the field of psychology was when he was interviewed by 2 psychiatrists when he was inducted into the Army in 1944. During that same induction process, he was given a picture of Christ, something familiar to him in that strange environment farther from his home than he had ever been before. As a result, he always associated his study of psychology with Christ. True to his word, he never stopped his research after getting that message via the picture of Christ. The picture still hangs inside the entrance to Silva International Headquarters in Laredo, Texas, along with a photograph of Jose looking at the original, a full-length painting of Jesus with a child standing by his side, painted by Karl Heinrich Bloch and now hanging in a church in Denmark. Let's review and see just what happened. Jose has always had a strong connection with high intelligence, as evidenced by his success his entire life. Relaxing on the sofa on a Saturday morning while a gentle rain fell outside is a perfect prescription for this natural alpha thinker to be at alpha, a condition where communication with high intelligence is very easy. Evidently, his tutor observed that Jose had interpreted the criticism of him and his work as a sign to end his research. But, as Jose came to understand later, much more formidable criticism lay ahead from skeptical scientists that he would have to contend with if he hoped to have his work accepted. The criticism of his non-scientific friends and neighbors strengthened him, and it showed him how to deal with resistance and opposition. So how did high intelligence get this message to Jose? By using a symbol that Jose could understand. They got Jose's attention through the strange circumstances surrounding the picture. The papers were dry. And what did Jesus represent to Jose? Someone who endured criticism and suffering in order to help humanity. Jose got the message. His emotions were so overwhelming that he went into the bathroom, locked the door, and had a good cry. Here's how to proceed. The mental video technique is the first technique that uses the delta brain wave level. Until now, nobody knew how to use the delta level, since the only way that most people can get to the delta level is in the deepest part of their sleep cycle. Here are the steps for guidance from high intelligence. 1. Follow the instructions for creating the mental videos at beta and at alpha. 2. When you go to sleep at night, use the technique to deliver your mental videos to your tutor in order to give a full report to high intelligence while you are in delta sleep. 3. Let coincidence and the results of your efforts guide you to correct problems and reach your goals. Specific examples: if you have not yet found your purpose in life, your first step is to analyze and find out what your tendencies are. What made you happy when you were young? What were your dreams? Why were they important to you? What has brought you the most satisfaction in your life? What do you seem to be good at? What do your friends think you are good at? What do they think you are well suited for? Questions like these can help you find a starting point. Then, use the mental video technique and get into action. Start working towards what you think your purpose in life might be. Notice how it goes. Do you encounter many obstacles, and each one takes longer to overcome than the previous one? You might be on the wrong path. Try again. If each obstacle seems less difficult to overcome than the previous one, and if coincidences are making it easy for you to move toward your goals, you are probably on the right path. Keep going. Whenever you need to make decisions, use the alpha level to help you make the best decision you can. Deliver your mental video while in delta sleep, and the next day notice the results of your action. This will let you know whether you actually made the correct decision or not. As long as you continue to give reports to the director back at headquarters in the spiritual dimension, the director will arrange things to either help you or to redirect your efforts, whichever helps to accomplish what needs to be accomplished to conform to the plan of high intelligence for this physical dimension. Remember, you are the eyes and ears for high intelligence. They need your reports, so be sure to report in every night. Then, whenever you try something and it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, do something else. Don't give up too easily. Make a good effort. Just remember that we do not batter down doors. We do whatever is the best, most efficient way to reach our goals. Or if we keep getting blocked, we change our goals. It is such a simple system that it is easy to ignore it. Give regular reports. Then do what works, and avoid what doesn't work. Mental video technique. Whenever you need to solve a problem with the mental video technique, proceed as follows. 1. At beta, the outer conscious level, analyze your problem. Make a good study of the problem. Imagine that you have a video camera and that you are making a video recording of the problem. Make sure that your video explains the details of the problem. 2. Later, when you are in bed and ready to go to sleep, enter level 1 with the 3-to-1 method. 3. Once you are at your level, review the mental video of the problem that you created at beta. 4. After you have reviewed the problem, mentally convert the problem into a project. Then create with imagination a mental video of the solution. The mental video of the solution should contain a step-by-step procedure of how you desire the project to be resolved, what you expect to happen. 5. After both of the mental videos have been completed, go to sleep with the intention of delivering the mental videos to your tutor while you sleep. Take for granted that delivery will be made. 6. During the next 3 days, look for indications that point to the solution. Every time you think of the project, think of the solution that you have created in the mental video in a past tense sense. Your videos should include everything that has life. We can only influence life. And we definitely can influence life, humans, animals, plants, and so forth. Researcher Cleve Baxter has demonstrated that plants sand, even your own white blood cells, and perceive our thoughts and emotions, even at great distances. You can read about this research in Chapter 9. In your second video, include all of the people who will benefit. The more people who will benefit, the more help you will get from the other side. At least 2 or more people should benefit. The solution should improve conditions on planet Earth. The following laws are to be considered when programming. 1. Do to others only what you like others to do to you. 2. The solution must be within the possibility area. 3. The solution must help to make this planet a better place to live. 4. The solution must be the best for everybody concerned. 5. The solution must help at least 2 or more persons. When you use the mental video technique, do it with the expectation that while you are in delta sleep, the videos will be delivered into the proper hands, the correct intelligence, your tutor on the other side, to help in the preparation of the solution. The more that your tutors in the spiritual dimension know about conditions and what is being done to improve them, the better able they will be to arrange things so that we get the help that we need. That is why it is important that as many people as possible are using the mental video technique every night. Remember, after you review your mental videos, remain at alpha and go to sleep from there, with the intention of delivering them to the other side while you are in delta sleep. Using delta purposefully. Why is this done at the delta level? We have observed that delta is like a doorway to the other side. The first brain frequencies ever detected in the fetus are the slow delta frequencies. After birth, the child first develops the delta dimension, then theta, alpha, and beta by the time the person is fully mature. When a person dies a natural death, the last frequencies detected are the delta frequencies. This delta doorway seems to bring us from another dimension into the physical dimension and then take us back to the spiritual dimension again. The only way that most people can get to delta is by natural sleep. If you take sleeping pills, the pills interfere with your normal sleep rhythms and often keep you out of delta. Drugs always have side effects. It is much better to attend the Silva Method basic lecture series and learn to use the sleep control technique to get to sleep without drugs. Many projects. You can play the mental video technique for several projects. As always, let your results guide you as to how to proceed. When you first begin, do just one project at a time. After this becomes successful for you, then you can try 2 projects at a time. You can continue adding projects as you feel necessary, always observing the results. If your success rate declines, then go back to including fewer projects in your mental videos. If your success rate remains high, then continue on. As always, do what works, and avoid what doesn't work. One more set of countdowns. For the next 10 days, practice counting down from 10 to 1 each morning when you wake up. Remember to practice the long relaxation exercise from time to time. After you have completed this set of countdowns over the next 10 days, you are ready to use the 3-to-1 method to enter your level. When you desire to enter your level, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times. You have been associating the number 3 with physical relaxation, so this will help you to relax your body. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 times. This will help you relax your mind. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times, and take it for granted that you are at the alpha level, a deeper level of mind that you can use for a purpose, any purpose you desire. You can deepen this level by doing countdown deepening exercises, and also by relaxing your body. Maintain minimum mental activity in order to keep your brain frequency lowered to the alpha level. As you continue to practice, over time you can learn to enter the alpha level by simply recalling your points of reference, the special feeling of being at alpha. It is like an emotional or a mental feeling. You can even learn to be in alpha with your eyes open, so long as you do not focus them on anything, but remain in a sort of daydreaming state. Anytime you attempt to focus your eyes, your brain will adjust to beta. You can use all of your other senses at alpha, but not the sense of eyesight. As always, your results will let you know how you are doing. If your results are not as good when you do not use the 3-to-1 method, then go back to using the 3-to-1 method. If your results are just as good when you have your eyes open and defocused, then by all means leave your eyes open and defocused whenever you need to function this way. Whole brain functioning. Eventually, this will all become second nature to you. Your brain dips into the alpha level approximately 30 times every minute. Once you have learned to function at alpha with conscious awareness by practicing as Jose has directed you to, then those brief excursions into alpha will become very valuable to you. Remember the way Jose was sitting on the sofa that rainy Saturday morning, reflecting on his decision to end his research, and his son Ricardo came running in with some rolled-up papers? What was really going on? Jose always had a strong connection with the other side, with his tutors. That is obvious from the high degree of success that he achieved. So sitting there, relaxed, the gentle sound of the falling rain, he was surely producing a lot of alpha. And his tutors sensed what was going on. He had made an incorrect decision, so they quickly sent him a message. As a result, he resumed his research and never stopped again. Otherwise, we would not have the Silva Ultramind system today. A characteristic of success. This is typical of the way that successful people function. They seldom realize that they are doing anything different from the average person. As Napoleon Hill found, most of them prefer to take the credit themselves. If you pay attention to the stories, you can see what is really happening. Rock and roll singer Jerry Lee Lewis is a good example. He was lamenting one time that guitar players have an advantage over piano players because they can move around, get in front of different members of the audience, and get them involved in the performance, while a piano player is stuck in one spot. One of the guitar players asked him, "Do you have to play the piano sitting down?" "I can play it standing on my head," Lewis answered. The guitar player suggested he try playing part of the performance standing up. An accident pays big dividends. So that night, when he got to an appropriate place in the song, Lewis stood up and tried to slide the piano bench back with his foot, but the bench fell over. When it did, the audience reacted. Lewis had been seeking a way to get the audience more involved, and he realized that the accident had done just that. So the next time, he deliberately kicked the bench over hard. The audience loved it. Today, Jerry Lee Lewis not only kicks the bench around, but he climbs on top of the piano and does come pretty close to paying it while standing on his head as he reaches down to the keyboard. He swings the microphone stand around and delivers an exciting, dynamic performance that audiences have loved for 3 decades. Was it an accident that the bench tipped over? Or did he receive help from what Napoleon Hill called unseen guides? Mind guides brain, brain guides body. Perhaps this is the way that his tutors were able to help him. Jerry Lee Lewis came from a religious family and is a highly creative person himself. Creative people are spiritual people. They have strong connections to the spiritual dimension, especially when performing. So perhaps he was so well connected to the spiritual dimension that his tutors were able to alter his actions slightly when he tried to push the piano bench back. Here's how it could happen. Whenever you have a thought, that thought causes a reaction in your brain. That reaction can travel down neural pathways and cause certain muscles to contract or relax. According to Dr. J.W. Hahn, the first scientist to support Jose and his research, this is called an idea-motor response. An idea causes a reaction in the brain, which causes a reaction in the sensory-motor nervous system, which causes muscles to respond. Dr. Hahn should know, for many years he was director of the Mind Science Foundation, the country's leading parapsychology research organization. The secret of paranormal devices. Dowsing rods work on the ideomotor response. So do pendulums, Ouija boards, and most other paranormal devices. It is actually the dowser's mind that detects the presence of water through mental projection. Then the mind causes a reaction in the brain, which sends a tiny signal to the muscles, and as a result, the dowsing rods, which are very difficult to keep straight anyway, move. It is the ultimate biofeedback. It is a way to use your body to show you that your mind has detected something. It is the person's mind that detects information through mental projection and then, through the mechanism we have mentioned, causes the pendulum to swing a certain way, or causes you to move towards a certain part of the Ouija board. It all begins with mental projection. So could it be that Jerry Lee Lewis was sent a message from his tutors, which caused his mind to guide his brain to send the signals that caused him to topple the piano bench and begin the process that launched him into superstar status so that he could showcase his magnificent talent? Practice makes perfect. First you have to practice. You have to do it because you want to do it. Count yourself into your level and use the techniques. Use them as much as possible. It will become second nature for you to use the mental video technique every night. Think about it during the day, and notice the coincidences that come your way. Act on them and evaluate the results. Once this has become a normal part of your life, you may find that you are getting more and more guidance even without going through the complete ritual. This is the way that it should be. We should all be able to take a deep breath and relax when we are faced with an important decision, and then make the correct choice with a little help from our tutors in the spiritual dimension. Can you imagine what the future will be like when everyone is doing this? Encourage all of your friends to learn to do this, and do it yourself at every opportunity. It can really help to make the world a wonderful place to live. It can make Jose's dream come true, to convert the planet into a paradise. Section 2. Expand your capabilities. What is the Silva program all about? No one is more qualified to answer that question than Nelda Sheets. Nelda was a student in Jose Silva's first commercial class in Amarillo, Texas, in 1966, and she was the first person besides Jose Silva to start teaching the course. So 13 years ago, when her grandson asked her to explain to him what Silva was all about, she was ready. I explained that it was a method for learning how to use more of your mind, how to learn to focus for what you want, she recalled. After my 45-minute explanation, he said, "Oh, I get it, Mimi, the Silva system is learning to talk to your brain to get what you want." He said in one statement what I took 45 minutes explaining to him. And I remember thinking to myself, I knew he was a genius. The chapters in this section will teach you how to talk to your brain so that you will know how to get rid of impediments to your success, and be better able to carry out your life's mission. As a reader of this book, you are very fortunate. The techniques in most success books work well for the authors of the books, but they work for only a few of the readers. That's because the authors are natural alpha thinkers but don't realize that most people cannot do their thinking at the alpha level. Only the natural alpha thinkers are able to use the techniques in those books successfully, and the authors point to them with pride, ignoring the 90% of their readers who gain little or no benefits from the books. And you are doubly fortunate because you have access to something that most other success books cannot offer. Silva instructors around the world ready to help you learn to function at alpha level and use the techniques in this book.